Is it possible for a hot hatch to be both under the radar and over the top? If it's the Hyundai i30 N sedan, then definitely. People don't normally associate performance pocket rockets with a traditional four-door sedan. But this car, well, just look at it. It begs to differ. Just introduced in Australia alongside the facelifted i30 sedan, the N sedan is a slightly bigger brother to the iconic N hatch and is the effective replacement for the dearly departed fastback version of the N. Big shoes to fill. Let's stick our boot in and see how it performs. Now, the i30 Sedan N has few rivals, but one of them is the rather excellent Subaru WRX, and the other, well, it's the Mercedes-Benz A35 sedan, the 4MATIC, which starts at 40k more. And speaking of pricing, over to voiceover me. You're also approaching $90,000 before you can get the Merc's other German competitors, the sleek Audi S3 Quattro and BMW M235i Grand Coupe, on the road. This then leaves the WRX as the Hyundai's sole affordable four-door hot sedan alternative. Regardless of whether it's a manual or auto, the facelifted i30 Sedan N for 2024 is only available in the one premium grade, kicking off from $52,000 before on-road costs, so it costs a bit more than before. Yet the changes are more far-reaching than they might seem at first glance. Along with new LED headlights featuring signature full-width light bar, bumpers and alloys, it gains a strengthened body structure, an array of detailed steering and suspension improvements, upgraded driver assist safety tech, updated multimedia including USB-C ports, and real-time connected car services Hyundai calls Blue Link that can notify emergency services automatically if you've had a prang. These come on top of all the regular N gear, like the striking body kit, electronic control suspension, mechanical limited slip differential, performance driving modes, and uprated ventilated brake package, as well as luxuries like adaptive cruise control, heated and vented sports seats up front, leather upholstery, dual zone climate control, ambient lighting, quality Michelin Pilot Sport tyres on 19-inch alloys, and pretty much all of the electronic driver assist tech available to Hyundai. The only options are a $2,000 sunroof and $595 premium paint. That's all pretty compelling value for money, especially for a car of this size. Don't forget you can read my full review at carsguide.com.au to find out more. Now, in most cases, more is less when you add spoilers and body kits and all that sort of stuff to a regular sedan. But in the i30 Sedan N's case, I think more is actually more because the bits that they have changed, such as the red detailing and the larger spoilers and the special LED lights and all that sort of stuff, I think they enhance the look of the car. And walking around to the side with these beautiful large black alloys and the red braking detailing and the side skirts, I think they make the fussy regular i30 sedan slightly less so because they draw the eyes away. So it's still this flowing, quite striking fastback silhouette, but in this case, I think it gels together better than I expected it to. Having said that, for some people, it's still quite an ugly looking car. I think I've got a foot in both camps there. Anyway, let's check out the interior. Small hot sedan rivals would struggle to match the i30 Sedan N's sheer practicality. Running on a newer generation architecture also shared with the latest Hyundai Kona SUV, this is actually the 7th generation Elantra, meaning that it is also a substantially larger, longer and wider proposition than the i30N hatch. As a result, the driver and passenger have plenty of space to stretch out in. It really does feel like a car from the next size up. Being the i30 flagship version, the N Premium's dashboard is also dressed up to look suitably upmarket, With its vast dashboard design offering twin 10.25-inch screens and N-specific configurable instrumentation, while blue stitch leather trim and darker cabin elements imbue it all with a racier feel. You shouldn't be surprised to learn that there's a performance monitor within the touchscreen with all sorts of vehicle and driving data, including a lap timer. There's also a big red button under one of the steering wheel spokes that's cringingly labelled NGS for N Grin Shift. Created for racetrack use, it adds an extra 7 kilowatts of power for 20 seconds of extra overtaking muscle. Speaking of fast driving, lowered sport seats provide sufficient bracing through tight corners, while all the regular practicality features found in the everyday i30 sedan, like the excellent driving position, ample ventilation, easy controls and tons of storage, are also present. The same applies across the generous backseat area, which lacks nothing for expected amenities to help keep kids comfy, safe, hydrated and plugged in, while the slightly smaller boot, down 10 litres compared to the regular i30 sedan, means it's still large enough for most family needs. Blame the N chassis stiffness brace fitted back there. A space saver spare lives under the wide flat floor. In another video, I talk about the i30 sedan, the regular version, as having a bit of a rent-a-car ambience inside, and that was of course the base hybrid version I was driving. But gee, going from $33,000 to $52,000 in this car really is obvious when you sit inside and experience the great front seats. They are sumptuously comfortable. The steering wheel has these paddle shifters here, as well as driving modes that create a configurable sport or eco setting that can really turn the wick up to 11 if you need to, in terms of hot hatch fun. The ambience as a result is so much better in the N. The use of black trim and the subtle ambient lighting, as well as the sunroof in this particular model and the piping on the perforated leather seats, it all just adds up to something that feels far more special than you expect. So really, I have got hardly any complaints about the i30N interior. Maybe this particular buttress grip thing here, it fouls the passenger's knee. Like I was sitting on it earlier and around corners, it was meant to hold me in, but actually just gave me a knee ache. Vision out is a bit poor, and getting in and out of the back seat also is a little bit difficult if you're taller, because you keep hitting your head because of the below roof line. But other than that, it's a really well resolved interior. Well done, Hyundai. Make no mistake, the heart and soul of the Hyundai i30 Sedan N is right under here. The engine itself carries over from before, meaning it's a 2-litre turbocharged 4-cylinder direct injection unit making 206 kilowatts of power and 392 newton meters of torque. Tipping the scales at 1,475 kilograms, the resulting power to weight ratio is an impressive 140 kilowatts per tonne. And don't forget, pressing the N Grin Shift button ups power to 230 kilowatts for a 20-second burst. Refreshingly, traditionalists can still choose a 6-speed manual, albeit with a rev matching function, or an 8-speed wet-type dual-clutch transmission, and both drive the front wheels via an electromechanical limited slip diff. Mechanical improvements for 2024 include better brake cooling and fading resistance, stronger engine mounts for improved agility, more insulation, reduced vibrations, upgraded steering components for even more precise handling, and tweaks to the stability control system. By the way, suspension is by McPherson style struts up front and a multi-link rear end arrangement. The i30N DCT's official combined average consumption is 8.3 litres per 100 kilometres. Around town, that should shoot up to 11.8 or drop to just 6.3 outside of urban areas. You'll need to add about 0.2 litres per 100 kilometres apiece for the less efficient, but some say more fun, manual version. Filling the 47-litre tank with 95 RON premium unleaded petrol, you could exceed 565 kilometres between refills on average. With a combination of gentle highway schlepping and blasting through the hills around the fast Murray River area rural roads, our trip computer showed a very commendable 10 litres per 100 kilometres. Not bad for something that can hit 250 kilometres an hour. Like with all i30 sedans, the N does not score an ANCAP rating due to it not being available in Europe. Still, Hyundai is pretty confident that it would score highly, thanks to a raft of standard driver assist safety items, such as AEB with pedestrian and cyclist detection as part of its forward collision avoidance assist system, blind spot monitoring, safe exit warning, rear cross traffic alert, and adaptive cruise control with full stop-go functionality. You can read more about safety in my full written review of the i30 Sedan N at carsguide.com.au. The i30 Sedan N brings a 5-year unlimited kilometre warranty as well as 1 year of roadside assistance. Service intervals are at 12 months or 10,000 kilometres, with service pricing published on Hyundai's website. Over the first 5 years, expect to pay around $1,800 or on average about $360 annually. That's not bad. Out on the hilly roads around Albury, the i30 Sedan N feels in its absolute element due to the mixture of long open straights and tight corners that show off Hyundai's incredible chassis tuning capabilities. Egged on by an active variable exhaust note, the 2-litre 4-pot twin-scroll turbo has a very deep set of lungs, providing a decent watt of torque as it revs out fast and freely to its 6,000 RPM red line. Whether driving the slick yet weighty 6-speed manual, which surely is one of the best in the business, or super fast 8-speed DCT, there's a delightful amount of muscle and speed for the money. We're also fans of the steering's poise and response, resulting in hunkered down handling that quite belies this car's substantial length and width, backed up by plenty of feel and feedback. Factor in superb braking and the i30N is incredibly alert and agile for something so big. The trade-off of all this athleticism is a firm but not harsh ride, as well as some tyre and road noise intrusion when cruising comfortably along the highway. Out on the racetrack though, is where the i30 Sedan N really shines. The i30N, whether it's a sedan or a fastback, which is sadly discontinued, or the hatch, is just one of those cars that is a pussycat when you need it to be and a tiger when you want it to be. So I'm just taking off in regular mode, and even in regular mode this thing is up for it. Like, acceleration is absolutely spectacular. The sound it makes is intoxicating, and of course the chassis is just so fun to play with. So Hyundai really has tuned this car to feel like a racetrack weapon, and think about that for a second. This is a $52,000 car, and I'm driving around the racetrack like I'm a crazy man, and you know, it's just fun. Tail lets go a bit, but you know, it's front wheel drive, but it still grips, and it is just a lot of fun to drive. Now, I think Hyundai's really tuned the steering to feel perfectly weighted and direct. It's like patting your hands. All those cliches come to mind, but it's what it's like. It's just a lot of fun. The fact that you can also customize the driving modes from, regular, sport, track, and grin-inducing fun shows the depth, like the actual breadth of capability of the chassis. It's sharp, yeah, it's forgiving. On the open road, it's comfortable enough for it to be a daily commuter. And if you're lucky enough to have access to a track like I have right now, it's just so much fun to drive. It's really difficult to criticise this car, given how little Hyundai charges for it. My takeaway is that they've improved this car slightly. I can't tell. I'm not a good enough racetrack driver to spot the differences compared to the last time I drove one of these hard, but it's just as great as ever. In fact, I'd go as far as saying that the sedan concedes absolutely nothing to the hatchback, and drivers that are actually better than me say that it's just a little bit sharper, just a slightly little bit more responsive, and because the body is just that much stiffer, and it's also running a slightly evolved platform, and I tend to believe it. So there you go. I don't want to stop driving this. It's hard to believe that one of our favourite hot hatches, the i30 N 5-door, has such strong internal competition in the i30 Sedan N version. It's just as thrilling, it's just as scintillating to drive, and it's just so immersive and enjoyable. Around the track here, it absolutely blew our minds. If you're in the market for a performance hot hatch, well, it's time for the i30 N sedan to step into the limelight and be on your shortlist. It's that good. Don't forget, you can read the full review at carsguide.com.au, and as always, thanks for watching.